You already know, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again with another episode of the King's Court. I am King George. I'm your host. My co-host is Mandus Buckle. Mandus, what up?
Man, George, it seems like it's been a while.
I know, man. It was what? It's been 2 weeks, but it seemed like it's been longer than that.
It seems like it's been longer than that. I don't know. You guys will have to let us know. Every 2 weeks is starting to seem like an awfully long time. But George, I'm excited with Pittsburgh, man. We're gonna be together in a few days. Always one of the best shows of the year. But we got all kinds of stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yeah. Let's hold off on Pittsburgh. Let's do a recap of the City Limit Championships where Andre Ferguson took first place. What did you have to think about the show?
You know, I wasn't there. I was going to try and make it out there. Didn't get a chance to go out there. Saw a lot of pictures, saw a lot of videos. Heard a lot of scuttlebutt about, you know, a couple guys that were in first call-outs that were big surprises. One of the guys I think maybe was a bit of a stretch, but without being there, we know, you and I both know, it's too easy to look at pictures and videos and give an opinion without being there. You really don't know. The other guy we did determine who ended up second, he absolutely belonged in the first call-outs. Where he fell, was it second, third, fourth? That's a matter of semantics. That's up to the judging panel. We don't ever argue that. He obviously belonged there, but I think it was very interesting. I think you had two, if you want to call, stars of the IFBB, with Andre coming up with another win. You slid down a couple spots from your previous show and ended up third. You had a lot of guys at that show. What is the appeal and the draw of that City Limit show that makes everybody go out there and want to compete?
Well, for me, it's the promotion of the show. I think that Dre Dilla does a great job in promoting the show, but it's the feeling of the show. You know, it's the like when you're in Texas, man, it's the love that they show. It's a well-ran show, and you just feel good. You feel like you're a part of something. And of course, you know, the prize money is there. But I think more than that, you know, when you're down there, they support each other, and you know, it's just a fun show to do. This is my third year doing the show, you know, so that to me, that's what I like about it. As far as the show, each show's different, you know. You never know what the judges are looking for. They pulled out a lineup, and you know, ultimately they made a decision on that lineup. You know, myself, I didn't, you know, wasn't, you know, I accept the placing that I got. You know, I thought I would have did a little bit better. But, you know, it's like a season. Like I always say, things happen in the season. That doesn't determine your season. You know, you just pick up, you respect their decision, and you keep on rolling. You know, I respect Dre, obviously. You know, he looks sharp. The guy who got second, I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now. But he was sharp, you know, regardless of what people may say. He won, I believe he won in the Masters division. He came in, you know, he came in sharp. And, you know, he got the second place. I was fortunate enough to get third. And, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles, you know. So on to the next one.
You know, it's interesting that it was a Masters guy that came out second to Dre. From everything I saw, he looked complete. He wasn't big, but he was well balanced. He was really conditioned. You know, his chest matched his shoulders, matched his arms, matched his back, had a small waist. He was dry, he was tight, he was hard. So it's not always only a size game. We're so used to talking about East Coast versus West Coast. That's where those guys get beat up. Well, this was a time where somebody just had the right perfect combination. And hats off to you. You know, it's a shame that neither of us can think of his name right now. Be sure to hit this up. But not only sliding into the second spot, but being a Masters guy.
Yeah. And
That
you know,
spot.
he had the utmost respect. You know, he told me I interviewed him or whatever, and you know, he basically like, hey, I learned from you guys. Now people were getting on him about his abs, and let me set the record straight. Oh, he has abs because he talked to me about blowing the air out of his abs. You know, so his lines, you know, just like we talk about pitchers. You know, sometimes you just get that shot, and you know, you're not in control of what shot, you know, a media source may use. You know. So once
Right.
again, you know, I know he feels great about it. He's got some points during Olympia, and I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah. Let's get on to something we're all waiting for here.
Yeah.
The prestige of the Pittsburgh Pro.
The prestige.
Prestige. You know,
Yeah.
there are very few shows that people talk about. You have that title. The New York Pro obviously is one. The Arnold and the Olympia, of course, are the top two. But Pittsburgh and New York, you know, if you're a bodybuilder, you want the New York Pro title. Traditionally in figure, New York has been a big show to come out of as well. But it has seemed that when it comes to men's physique, that being the Pittsburgh Pro champion, that prestigious title that everyone wants. Not to mention, those of you who've never been to the first weekend of May in Pittsburgh, you haven't really been a part of the bodybuilding community. You haven't felt it to the level that you will when you finally come out to Pittsburgh and are a part of that weekend. Whether you compete as an amateur for the first time, whether you compete as an IFBB Pro for the first time, or you're just there to watch the show, whether your company brings you out, and if you don't have that ability to come out with your sponsor, buy a plane ticket, get a hotel, and come to that show, because it's like something you'll never see, except for if you're at the Olympia. Not even the Arnold. The Arnold has a different feel, but you're going to see the who's who of bodybuilding all guest posing
Yes.
at
Yeah.
that show. And there's just really nothing like it. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah. My first, well, it's actually my second show ever. I did the Pittsburgh Pro Am. And to this day, people ask me what's one of my favorite shows, and I always say that show, just because I didn't know anything at the time, and so for that to be, you know, my first experience, you know, that just blew me away, you know, and that kind of really made me want to continue, you know, on with my career. And it's just a fun show, like you said. You see everybody that you see in magazines for the most part all at once, you know. And so you don't really get that a lot of times at a lot of different shows.
In a small venue. It's
Yes.
very, very tight knit, small venue. So it's really like nothing else. Sailor and
Taylor.
Memorial,
Yeah.
the unique historic building.
Yes.
You
And
really,
they're right there. That's the thing about it as an amateur. Sometimes you can't get close to them. I mean, they're right there in the hallway. You can see all of the people, you know, that you may look up to or whatever. They're right there, you know, and it's just a fun show, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm not even doing it, and I'm excited. You know, I'm excited to be able to be there.
Yeah, we have a unique situation here. Big Ray
Sugar
is
Ray.
back to defend his title again.
All three of them.
Uh-oh. That's something, though, man. He's going for the record here.
Yeah, he's got the back-to-back right now, and you know, he's feeling good. He's not taking it lightly, you know, and I can't wait to see what he's gonna pull out. I've been seeing some videos of him. He's looking, you know, real sharp, you know, and Pittsburgh is his hometown, so you know he's gonna be ready to defend his turf.
No one's beating him.
Yeah.
I'll go on record. No one is beating him. When you're on the verge of capturing a record, and you're at home, and you're an elite athlete, there's just the moon and the stars and everything would have to align for somebody else, and there would have to be some sort of cataclysmic catastrophe that would have to happen for
Yeah.
Ray to be overthrown here. The guy's got to be laser sharp focused. There's no somebody's going into his hometown and taking his title.
Yeah.
There's just
Nah,
no.
I was looking at a couple of the names on the list. We got Mike Anderson back.
Yeah.
He's back. He's going to be there. Lyndon Bond, Neil Cash. We got Scott Dennis, of course, Ray, Ken Jones, Anthony Scalza. We got Giovanni coming off of a win. And of course, I Got More. I think that's going to be his guy. If y'all know who I Got More is, that is Kyron. You know, and I've been seeing some videos of him, you know, and he's going to try to make a push, you know. So it's going to be an exciting show.
Good luck, Lyndon. Good luck, Kyron. Good luck, Gio. Good luck to the field. It's a Raymont Edmonds weekend, and I see nothing else. I see nothing to challenge that. Again, there's no knock on anyone else. It's just like I said, he's in his hometown and he's going for the 3-peat.
Yeah. Well, Mandus has spoken. So speaking of that, right? Moving on to 2 through 5, right? Because, you know, if we got Way as our projected winner, you know, how does placing 2 through 5 help you win later?
I think it is just part of the process. You know, oftentimes we hear guys talking about, hey, I compete to win. I want to win. Everyone competes to win, but you don't go from never competing in the IFBB or being in last call outs or whatever, 4th or 5th call outs to winning a show. The first thing you have to do is learn how to get yourself into first call outs and into first call outs consistently. And when you do that, you start to notice a lot of other little things, your angles, if you're on the left side compared to if you're on the right side, depending on what judging panel it is, if they're holding you longer than you're used to in your poses, certain stages, the lighting is different. You start to learn things about your short colors on certain stages. If the lighting is bouncing up as opposed to the lighting coming down, there's just so many small variables that you start to pay attention to that ordinarily guys aren't thinking about before they're in that position. And now those who continue to move up that ladder say, hey, I finished 4th or I finished 3rd or I finished 2nd because of X, Y, and Z. I need to remedy these things. So next time I have an ability to finish first. So I think it's just part of the process of growing as a professional athlete.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Even on the national level, I think it's the same thing. Even more so, though, at this level, because the difference between 2nd and 4th, sometimes 90% of the eyes watching can't tell the difference.
True. And I'm a roll with you. You know, it's definitely part of the process. You know, basically what you're talking about is the little attention to detail things. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between winning and losing. You know, did you hold that pose long enough? Okay, well, you might have been in tremendous shape, but you didn't practice your posing, so you might have died in your posing. Well, I know that because I've done that before. So what you do is you learn from that. And then this show, like, oh, okay, I got it, but I really didn't show the confidence, right, that I had it. Well, that's through my stage presence. So the next time I go out, you know, I'm going to just be like, man, fuck it, man. I'm about to just go out here and do my thing. You know, so it's just a lot of different things that, or it just may be another guy's day. You know, they just may pick somebody else. You know, so with that, then you learn consistency. Like, okay, well, I showed up this time. I'm going to show up again. You know, so there's lessons in the struggle. That's never going to change in any aspect in life. You know, so if you're in the top 5, number one, that right there is a step in itself. You know, I remember the first time I got in the top 5. I thought I should have done better. So I was about to go to my guy. Ain't gonna say no names. Go to my guy and say, hey, man, you know, like I told this shit. And the first thing he said was to me like, hey, G, you cracked your first top 5. And at that moment, I knew like, oh, okay. All right. So, and then you go back and do research. Always go back and do research of a guy that's doing well now. And look at his record or his stats before. And then you will see that it was not peachy for anybody. Everybody had to go through the mud, you know. So hop on in the mud, learn what you need to learn, and then when it's time to shine, get your roll on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So George, what's your take here on show selections? You know, do guys pick top tier shows right away? Do you stay in your own backyard? East Coast compared to West Coast compared to the Southern region? This is obviously something now that is a big part of how guys are going to do strategically. What's your take on show selection?
Well, I had to turn my hat around to the back because I'm from
Yeah.
Ohio. See that? So I'm from Ohio. When I'm saying that, I'm saying in the beginning, I would stay where I'm from. Now, with that being said, I also went out west when I was a rookie and tried to make a name for myself, you know, because you do want to try to expand. But myself personally, I would do shows on my side because things will be judged to me and that fit my style. You know, once you start going and switching different regions, there's different styles, there's different judges, and you know, it's always a variable, but that's just my opinion. That's what I would do. As far as like the show selections, whether you go big or you go small, I mean, I think that you should have some people that have an opinion, you know, some advisors to say, hey, you know, maybe you want to go do this big show to kind of see where you stack up. And then from that point, we can kind of strategically pick, you know, some other shows, depending on Olympia points or just depending on where you are in your career. You know, I think the main thing is for you to be realistic, you know, so if you feel like you got enough, you know, smoke or whatever to go out west or to go anywhere to do a show and you think you'll do well, then so be it. But if you're just starting out, I would kind of, to me, I would stick to where I was familiar at and then see how things shake out right there.
You know, I think there's a lot of variables here, but I'll write off of the first thing you said. You know, I learned this when I first came into the sport. This wasn't even a conversation about pro stages. It was, how can you boast about how good you are if you're not king of your own backyard?
Damn right. Yep.
You don't run your own backyard, you're not running anything.
Yep.
So the first thing is, wherever you live, your friends, your family, your the people who follow you, support you, your athletes, if you're a coach or a trainer, you should be doing your shows that are local to you for years. Those people should see you every single year. And I would take that as your home state and your 2 or 3 surrounding states as well. You know, you know, you're in the Midwest, you know, you've got Ohio and Indiana and Chicago and Wisconsin. So you need to run the Midwest. If you're an East Coast guy, you need to run the East Coast. Then I do believe, because of the point system and understanding that you're going to have to learn how to travel in the IFBB and be in front of different panels of judges, pick 1 or 2 shows where you do have to get on a plane, where you do have to travel, where you do have to put together an itinerary so you can start to learn how your body responds to flights, how you have to pack up yourself for the weekend and go stay in a foreign hotel where you're no longer a quick car ride away from going home if you forgot something. These are parts of the traits of becoming a professional and knowing how to work through those things. So if you don't have those things scheduled right away in your first year or two, you're already behind the 8 ball, because by the time you put yourself in that position, it's a first. You certainly don't want the very first show you're ever doing where you're traveling far to be the Pittsburgh Pro or the New York Pro or the Arnold or the Olympia. You know, you want to have gotten your feet wet and experience some of those things.
My first Pittsburgh Pro, I was 14th place.
Yeah.
You know,
tied with 14 other guys.
14th place. You know, so like I said, we know ain't nothing built overnight. And then at the end of the day, you're gonna have to bump your head. You know, It's just you're gonna kind of figure out because it's different for everybody. For me, I got like a path that I take. I feel that works for me every year. I've learned rest schedules. I've learned it all, and that's just through filling it out and through experience. So I think that it'll fall into place like it's supposed to. But I think you just gotta choose wisely and figure out what works for you.
One thing I would say that I'm hearing guys do way too much now is, oh, I heard so and so is doing this show or that show. I'm
Yeah.
gonna skip it. Right there, you're not much of a competitor.
Yeah.
If you're basing your shows off of where you think 2 or 3 other guys are gonna be, you're never gonna be as good as you can be because that should be irrelevant. You should base your strategy off of you, off of the things that we talked about. And so if that particular show, somebody that you don't think you're ready to beat yet happens to show up, so be it. Because that's going to happen time and time and time again in your career until there's only one guy who can say, hey, it didn't matter who else showed up today. I am now the best in the world. And that's in September. Otherwise, everybody else has to compete against eventually the best of the best. And everyone will eventually get beat.
Yeah, either that or become that guy that people are saying, oh, I ain't going there.
Right.
I'm not there with him. Become that guy. All right, so look, with all we was talking about show selection and everything like that, let's just say you're getting into a season and you are picking those shows, and things aren't really working out, right? And you're digging in your pocket and you're spending, right? Because you had to go on flights or whatever. When do you cut the season short and say, hey, you know what? I think that I might go back to the drawing board because I don't want to keep, digging in my pocket. Everybody wants that, but when do you cut it short?
George, I think this is a case per case basis. I'm from the school of you put a plan together and you execute that plan and you learn from it. I'm not saying that there's never going to be a time where if you have 5 or 6 shows planned, after 4 shows, we know, hey, guess what? Let's go back to the drawing board. But we're certainly not cutting it after 2 or 3. It's part of what we've talked about. You need the experience. So some of the things we just touched on, some of them are going to be you're competing maybe in a region we thought was favorable for you, or you're competing at home. And then maybe that other show is a show where you had to travel a little bit of a distance to get that experience. Well, if you cut that short, you don't get that experience for next year. Yeah. So albeit it's probably a little more case to case than just general, I would say I don't see cutting your losses short until you've done at least 50 to 65% of what you were going to follow through on, because you don't know everything. The plan was not only one thing. Weren't you going to learn several things from your run of 4, 5, 6, 7 shows? Weren't you going to learn how your body was going to respond show to show, the traveling from region to region, being in front of different judging panels,
collecting data? You got to collect that data.
So you still need that experience.
Yeah.
So I think that can become very dangerous if guys start cutting it too short, if they're only thinking of their pocketbook or they're only thinking about Olympia points. You got to be real careful there.
Yeah, like you said, that's just I don't know. I mean, like you said, it's case by case. I've had, a lot of seasons, and, each season is different, speaking on when I was building, sometimes I just didn't have the money in the beginning, so season just had to get cut because I just ran out of money, but I would say this, in the grand scheme of whatever your plan is, everything should work out the way you want it to. And it's just accepting the ride, as long as you accept the ride and you going for whatever you want to go for, then everything it'll fall just exactly as it's supposed to.
You got your experience, right?
Yeah.
Be good, bad, or indifferent. It was experience. So I hear you've got one heck of a guest for us, George.
Yeah, man. I've been eating clean, man. You got me on this program. I've been eating clean, right? And I could pick my carbs, and I choose yams a lot. So we're gonna pay some bills. And then I'm going to have the Yam God back. If y'all know who the Yam God is, that's my main man, Ray, Sugar Ray, Megatron. Look, I remember when I couldn't even come up with a name for him. He got 7 different names down.
Yeah.
This is number 2 in the world. What you want to call him? Anyway, when we come back, we got my man Ray Edmonds. Stay tuned. And we are back from the Kings from commercial. We got the Yam God in the building. That's Ray Edmonds.
You know it.
Coming off of number 2 at Olympia.
Yes.
Followed up with a win in Columbia. Came right back with another strong showing at the Arnold, 2nd place. And now you headed for your 3rd straight Pittsburgh championship, man. How you feel?
I'm feeling good, man. Man, you see that status check earlier?
Yeah, man, he was on fire, man.
I'm ready to rock, man.
So give us a little bit of what's your season like this year? As far as like compared to seasons before, coming off of kind of what I just said,
this year I feel like such a veteran now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like just like the approaches to the shows. I feel like I'm really like, I think just the window of improvement, it's getting so little that, that's how we used to like do all the shows.
Yeah.
That's how we improve. But now it's like, it's different because now I'm in a lineup and like there's no George, there's no Brandon, there's no Jeremy's, there's no, it's not the guys that I'm used to like competing with. So, it's all newer cats. So, it makes me feel like an older dude.
Yeah.
Like that. But, I'm enjoying this still though, man. So, and I'm going to keep it rolling.
Ray, it's been very interesting the last 18 months, 24 months. A lot has happened in your guys' division.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing that is glaringly obvious is 3 of you have separated yourself from the rest of the pack. No matter how anyone wants to look at it, now that Jeremy Buendia is done, there's no doubt that there's been a 3-horse race on who was going to be the next Mr. Olympia, who was going to win the next couple Arnold Classic titles. You, Brandon, and Andre have separated yourself as the 3 best in the world. You're talking about being a veteran, and there's a lot of new cats out. But where is your mindset now, besides the rest of the league? Where is your mindset when it comes to getting ready for the Arnold and then the Olympia, knowing that it's the 3 of you?
Yeah. It definitely brings another special element, an excitement to it. Not to say that I go into any other competition with less focus or anything, but you know how it is. When you got them dudes in the mix, you know how we bring it, G. So it's like it's a different preparation. You really, your game's tight.
Right.
things you could get away with normally.
Yeah.
Don't cut it because it's that close. So
Yeah.
it's like, even your diet, your training, everything. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I think like the Dre and Brandon, those 2 specifically, they definitely keep me on my game. You know what I mean? Because those are the dudes who are at the top. Those are the ones I still, want to be the best. I want to be the best. And it helps. It definitely helps.
Yeah.
All those years, we're all a lot of other people. We're all football fans. We relished in watching Peyton Manning and Tom Brady battle it out whenever they played each other. Whether you liked Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or not, you wanted to see the Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
That's what sports are about. Does your mindset change at all, though, then, when it's not the Olympia, the Arnold, and you're not battling Andre and Brandon, but now you're going into a show like Columbia or Pittsburgh or New York or whatever else it may be? Where's your headspace at then?
It still remains focused because think about it. We strategize the way we do our shows and why we do each show. So it's not like me winging it, going to Orlando thinking it's sweet. You know what I mean? Like Columbia, you know, I went down there to win last year, didn't I? Came in third, so there was a little chip on my shoulder. You know what I mean? So right there, I was focused. You know, didn't look down or nothing, and we accomplished our goal. Pittsburgh, it's my hometown, man. You know, in front of my friends, this is special. So like, again, you see the way we do our shows, and in New York is New York. Yeah. You know, you can do it anywhere if you can do it in New York. Everybody's in New York. So I think the way that, you know, with the Olympia and the Arnold, those preparations also with those shows, that focus still stays. It's just, you know, like I said, the newer guys, I don't know them. I never seen them. You know, it's a difference from Instagram and on stage and stuff. You know, Brandon George and everything. Like you kind of you know them. It's like you're scouting. You know what angles, how to stand, and how you don't. So like, you know, these guys, they're just new. That's all it is. But I mean, I'm bringing the same thing as I would with Brandon, George, Dre, with the new guys. So
yeah, we talked about that earlier of how, you know, you're from Pittsburgh, and you know it's a difference when you from Pittsburgh and you going for that record. You know, no, 3 straight, and it was just like, you know, it's just the barrel right now because you know we know how you know how to seal the deal. What's the biggest difference in your life, like right now from when you first started? From, of course, we got to shout out Ava. You know, watching her grow up, you know what I mean, and see everything or whatever. Remember last year with the sign or whatever, was perfect. And also, where do you see yourself about 3 years from now?
The biggest thing right now, like from when I started and now, I got the time. Like, you know, parenting, that was rather new. I had my own commercial cleaning company, so you know how that was. I was like fucking training, not sleeping, compete, and you know, I think in the beginning, you think genetics are going to like, but so, you know, carry you over the way until I'm going up against you guys and y'all smoking me. You know what I mean? So like, I think, you know, then I kind of underestimated how much work you had to actually put in with it and the time. So like where I'm at now, you know, the bodybuilding, the sport, you know, the hustle, it's allowed me the time that I need to put in, you know, that I didn't know you needed. Like you got to put in the time. It's a reason why dudes are at the top and dudes are on their way. You know, it's the work that has to be put in, the time. As far as like 3 years from now, I mean, you want to keep getting this money, man. but you know, I look at life as just like just like road marks. You know, it's like I've always been into many different things. So I feel like, you know, we'll just see how things are going. I think wherever life is gonna have me at, I'm gonna be cool.
Okay. All right. So tell us about like Yam. So like, is this like is Yam's your favorite choice of there we go. Is Yam's your favorite choice of cars? Can you explain Yams and the Yam God?
By the way, exactly he'll be getting a phone call from them this afternoon.
No, but real talk, you know what it is, yo. It's a lifestyle. Like,
okay, all right.
You know, it started off because that was like my go-to carb source.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
but
go-to.
It has so many meanings.
Yeah.
So, you know,
whatever meaning, man.
Whatever meaning you're referring to, you make sure you're the Yam God at.
Yeah, you know for sure.
So, Ray, walk us through then. You know, you're the guy who really changed your division when it came to size. There were guys that were smaller in stature that they said were pushing the limits on how big they could be, but you were the first, let's call you giant, when it came to the men's physique division. And not only did you make it work, you're about as good as it gets. Again, you're maybe a point or 2 or 3 away from an Arnold title, an Olympia title. That's as good as it gets. How do you think your physique was able to transcend from where it was to where it is now? And then how do you see all these other guys now who are looking at you? Are definitively looking at you as that matchup when it comes to the guys that are, you know, if we want to call them over 6'2" or whatever. But east to west, as wide as could be, back as big as could be. You have changed the game. So I know it's a twofold question. So kind of walk us through both sides.
I mean, first part, I guess, how you say, with the division and how I was like the first giant. I think, I mean, I guess I can kind of run it into each other, but I think, I have to look a certain way, like to compete with the top dogs. And that was the challenge. And that's where the journey started with me when I turned pro. I was there, but it was like, still got feeling a little bit more,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard. I got long limbs, man.
Right.
Right. Time you standing up, bro. So, like, yeah, it takes a lot to eat and lots of training. Right ways. With the the newer guy, the guys that look at me, I talk to a lot of tall guys, and they tell me like we look at you as like where we need to get our physiques as a standard. I get that. But we're all different. Everyone looks different. Like I understand how you can look at me as a standard and how all big guys should do, but it's more than just how you built too. It's everything involved in it. Your personality, how you demonstrate it on stage and everything. So it's more than just the physique.
I think that I don't mean to
guys,
cut you off. I don't mean to cut you off, but that's one thing that you do that I think that a lot of the bigger guys don't. The way you present is in your circumference or whatever you want to call it.
Very unique.
Yeah. I do notice it when I tell a lot of big guys like, yo, you're already big.
Yeah.
And I see how like when they're posing, when I help them out, and I'm like, relax in your front pose. This is men's physique, remember, man. Yeah. It's supposed to look cool, not like freakish bodybuilding. When the guys are right there, it's like you gotta find it. You gotta find, and I think what I come up with to compliment my style is what the judges that's what they like, that's what they love. So I mean, definitely I would say you look at me and see what I have and you try to apply those onto your physique, but it definitely takes more than just the physique.
Cool, man. Listen, you already know I'll be down there.
Hey, and hey, what's one other thing that's really underestimated, and it's a timing thing too, man. Just think about how many guys that were considered big then that didn't get no love. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so you were the right time. You were the right guy at the right time.
Because think about it, I could have easily been the same big dude. Like, nah.
Hey, look, Mandus, and we just talked about that, didn't we? The timing of everything, whatever your plan is, it's going to work out as long as you continue to work towards it.
That's all you could do, man.
You can't look at it for
work your plan.
Yeah, you can't look at it for what may be the standard right now. You just got to continue to work and evolve, and
you can't. That's why it's hard to chase a look. It changes. Look, if they're chasing my look from last year, guess what? I'm getting better than last year, so you're behind now. Yeah. So it's kind of like you got to maximize yours out, man.
So since we're talking to the biggest guy in the division, then who better to ask than you, Ray? There's been a lot of comments or talk on posts or videos or pictures about, wow, look at these men's physique guys. They're really getting big. They're getting too big. They're like classic physique. You guys aren't as big as classic physique guys, and you're not even anywhere close. Not even anywhere close to open bodybuilders. But the line has moved a lot from where it started. It's evolution. How do you explain to regular people like, hey, listen, this is the evolution of the division?
Just like that. Yo, the first iPhone to the new iPhone, baby. That thing got bigger and better.
Yeah. Hey, that's a perfect example.
Now you got to hold two hands on that thing. So it's bodybuilding. Think about it. The open class started something and evolved into what it is now. It's shit. This is a sport where we are training with weights.
How much farther do you think the envelope can and should be pushed compared to where it is now?
That's a good question. But I know I've been told.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
there you go then.
So
tell
that's
you.
why. So that's why when I see guys that are so much bigger than me, I'm like, damn. So like, first thing I think to myself is, do we really look that big? You know, Instagram and stuff, because you know the guys, they do look at us and they see like, yo, you guys are big, you guys are massive. But it's like, yo, you got to come in shredded too.
Shredded. Yeah.
You got to.
Hey man, look, man, appreciate
that
having you.
That Instagram makes everyone, you know, pictures makes everyone look huge. Because I hear people talk about something, oh my God, these guys are monsters. I go, yeah, but a lot of them, they're still 185, 195 pounds on stage. Sorry, that looks good, but to bodybuilder, that's still cute.
Yep.
You know,
So cute.
I know what you mean.
Let me know when you break 200. You know, like that's what they're in their head. They're like, you know, let me know when you get to grown man size. You know, well, all kidding aside, you guys look fantastic. You guys put the work in, but like everything, the line moves.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's like you said, it's the evolution. That's just how it is. I mean, it's so hard to draw a line on it when it's, you know, it's judging. You know,
right?
Like next year, you might Steve and Tyler might like me 10 pounds heavier. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know until you told like nah. So, but yeah, they told me we're cool on the side. So
there you have it.
So send that memo out to everybody. Look, I'm giving y'all free game right now. If they told me I'm cool. You go.
That's it. That's it.
There it is, man. Sugar Ray, Megatron. Remember we ain't had no name for you. Now you got
now like Yam Jeezy.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, I definitely appreciate having you. I'm gonna be down there probably Thursday. You already know we're gonna shoot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you for the pre-show interviews. You know what I'm saying? Make sure everything rolls. MMR, you already know.
He gave me that look. I'm gonna need you.
Yeah, you already know. You already know. Nah, seriously though. Appreciate having you, man.
No
you
doubt.
know, another very special guest, man. Wish you nothing but the best.
Absolutely.
Ain't no luck involved. You already know. So go down there, cross your T's and dot your I's, and we're going to have a good time, man. All three of them.
Yes, sir.
All three of them. Mandus, Sugar Ray, the King's Court, Maximum Muscle Report. See you guys later. Long live King.
Long live the King.
Omar. All right. See you guys next time.
All right.